you think people are going to live to 100, 110 years old. The average life expectancy in America right now has gone down recently, but it's like 77, I think, somewhere 77, 78 years old. That's a big leap to 100. Why do you think the life expectancy is going to extend so much?
So I watched my father, right? And we briefly touched upon this. Live for 30 years of some of the most, I'd say, horrible chronic conditions on the technology that we have today. Mm-hmm. If he had eaten better, if he had learned how to reduce his stress, if he had taken his diabetes more seriously, he would have probably lived until he was 90. That's how long his parents lived. Mm-hmm.
I think a whole generation of people eat bad.
Yep.
Don't exercise.
Yep.
And their kids tell them,
yep,
you're screwing up.
100%.
And there's some of it is a defiance. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to listen to my kids. My kids aren't, what do my kids know type thing. And another element of it is the lifestyle, like the habitual nature of their lifestyle makes it, you would have to make such drastic changes. And like, that's hard.
You know how hard it is to break habit?
Crazy.
It's so difficult. And especially if that habit has been ingrained into you since you were a child and you watched your parents do it, mm-hmm. it becomes even more difficult. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. I watched my father pass and I loved him with love him with all my heart. And at the same time, as he was going, he told me, he was like, look, you're doing everything right. Make sure that you teach your kids how to do this. Make sure you keep on pushing your message and your mission out there. And I think that when people start taking their health seriously, in combination with all the technological and medical advances that are coming out, we will live that long. And here's a qualifier, if we want to. You're talking about an average age of an American. I think you will see far more people getting to 100, 110 if they're taking care of themselves. I'm in this really interesting world that I optimize hormones and I work with people that really care about health. And I'm not lying when I say this. The number of 80-year-old people I see that look like they're there in their mid-40s is shocking. Their minds have the plasticity of a 40-year-old. They have the enthusiasm probably of a 20-year-old. And they have when you look at their skin looks so incredibly supple because they've been taking care of themselves for all this period of time. And the other thing that's interesting is I interviewed 150 guys before I started this company because I wanted to make sure this problem wasn't something I had in my mind. And I basically spent an hour and a half with them. We put a camera on like this. And I said, tell me about your life. Tell me about what you think about old age, what you think about death. And here's the biggest takeaway. And this is going to be shocking, but not shocking. The 50-year-old or 60-year-old men that thought they were young, they looked like they were there in their 30s. They felt like they were in their 30s. Their enthusiasm came through. The 30-year-old men that would literally say things like, oh, like 50 or 60. They looked 50 or 60. Mm-hmm. Their bodies, their mannerisms, their mindset, all of it drives it. And so much of what you do is your mindset, is how you think about your life and what you can actually continue to achieve or what you want to achieve or how happy you are. Now, that being said, I do think we're going to live far longer. Now, here's the important thing. I'm 40, you're 35, we touched upon this. You'll have 65 good years of life ahead of you. And so you're probably not thinking at 65, I'm going to retire, I'm going to go off and do, what are you going to do for 35 years? I have no clue. You're going to be bored as all hell. Mm-hmm. You're going to think about what else can I achieve with my life? What are the other experiences I can have? How can I spend time with my daughters? You'll probably have sons, their kids. And so when you start to think about your life being that long, it fundamentally changes the arc of your life and it starts to redefine how you think about it. And so I think what a lot of people do is, and I'll use my age as a perfect example. At 40, we start to think, well, our fathers, they probably start to slow down a little bit. 50 was around the corner. That's when they really started hanging things up and they were just counting down their years until they got to 65 so they can retire. Versus I'm going, and a lot of my friends are saying, whoa, going back, I feel like a 12-year-old in my mind. Oh my God, I got these parents I got to take care of. I got this family that I love and I want to take care of and be around for them as long as possible. I never knew a love like this existed before I had children. And they're saying, how can I, and selfishly, I want to feel good. I want to continue going to CrossFit. I want to continue playing pickleball or tennis. How do I put myself in a position where I can achieve that? And those things are, right, when we went back to it, what's your mindset? What are the habits you have in your life? How are you optimizing your health? And if you do those things, and this goes back to your comment about if you optimize your body, it will give you the foundation to go figure out how you can go achieve or optimize the rest of your life. And that's a lot of what we do, right? We work with guys and we tell them it's not just taking this shot or this pill and your life is going to turn around. Like, you have to change as a person.